All right.
All right, welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Faheem.
My name is Nelly J, and we are Good Rookie.
That's
Hey, what up,
right.
everybody? It is Good Tuesday. What it do? This is episode 14.
14.
Big episode, guys. We are so pumped and excited because our guest, you already see the man, right? You already know who he is. But for him, introduce who we got on the podcast today.
That's right. We have first entrepreneur, world renowned DJ, and international event producer. Let's welcome the Bandit
The
to the
bandit, the
podcast.
What
bandit,
up?
the bandit, the
The
bandit.
Bandit.
Bandit,
What's going on?
bandit,
What's going on? How
bandit.
you doing?
Oh,
How are you, bro? How's everything going for you, man? You're
I
busy
mean,
still though. Like you're around
yeah,
busy.
I'm still trying to be a little bit busy. I mean, it is what it is, but I think I'm just happy to sort of be alive, enjoying life,
mm,
enjoying those little things that matter now, you know what I mean?
that's
Family
right.
and that kind of
Bless
stuff.
up, bless up.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
Bandit, I want to talk to you because me and you were probably one of the luckiest people in the world to experience a carnival in 2020. We experienced the last carnival before COVID became a problem.
Yep.
We were both in Trinidad. I saw you on a scorch truck doing your thing. And I mean, looking back now, what like imagine all the folks who didn't go to carnival and the folks who did go. Like, is that crazy how things can change from like literally playing carnival on that Tuesday and then the week after everything shut down?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly a week. It was probably more like 2 weeks.
Couple
But
weeks, yes.
actually, the thought process, even 2 weeks after, was, yeah, this is not going to happen. You think you were never really thinking that this is actually going to last as long as it's lasting right now. I mean,
Mhm.
back then when the whispers were out there, I was already making plans and saying, okay, this is going to be an 8 week thing. Let me see how I can get things organized, business wise, so that I could catch the wave when it comes back,
Mhm.
and be ready for it. So the thought process has completely changed from then till now, obviously.
And like, I mean, we'll talk about this for the culture, but how have you? I think a lot of people right now want to know. You obviously have been doing quite well for yourself during this pandemic. So, what some things have you been doing in the off season? As a carnival DJ, as a event producer, what are things have you been doing to keep yourself busy and still motivated in the industry?
Um, well, I think to kind of still be in the industry, because it's really hard, but actually looking at my industry peers, I think that has kind of um, helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how motivated everyone else is, um, to kind of get your spirits up and everybody else's spirits. So the same way it's been getting other people's spirits up, it's been getting my spirits up. So when I see my friends, doing, lives and doing mixes, it encourages me to sort of be inspired to do the same, and to do as much as I could, just to kind of still be in it.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, with all the new music that comes out, you still kind of want to kind of dive in and just kind of see what's out there, see what's happening, just so that you don't lose it too much. But I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
can't lie, for a good hot minute, there was really no motivation. I mean, it was
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
just, especially with me, because I also have a 9 to 5. I work for the city as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so that kind of preoccupied, a lot of my time, to kind of take my mind off of what we were actually in.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I was mentioning about you being an international event promoter. Um, just give me like say your top three places in the world that you played or been involved with.
Wow. Someone asked me this question the other day, actually, and to be honest, the way I answered, I'm going to answer it again with you. Is I believe each city, each place has its own sort of flavor, where you know they're it's known for that.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
for example, you know Toronto has its flavor. New York has its flavor.
Mhm.
Miami has its flavor. Trinidad has its flavor. Grenada has its flavor. All these different places have something special about them, so that you know, when I go to St. Lucia, it's like, okay, I know what I can appreciate about St. Lucia versus what I would appreciate in Grenada. They're different things, right? So, I can't really say that I have a favorite per se,
Mhm.
in terms of three. I just, what I can appreciate is when each place or city that I go to has its own culture, its own sort of way
Mm-hmm.
to represent themselves,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and it's, as I say, something as simple as Toronto has a specific identity. If you go to our Toronto Fete, one of the things you can be sure of is that it's going to be very multicultural.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be all different people from all different avenues, versus in New York it's not going to be as multicultural in Brooklyn, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
might get the multiculturalism in Manhattan, but not necessarily in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Grenada, you're going to see the structure in terms of classes, perhaps, but you're not going to necessarily see it's structured in terms of being very segregated. It's going to be very integrated. So
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
again, and then they're going to appreciate a certain type of music. So as I say, just to kind of summarize it, it's basically different cities have different flavors, and I kind of appreciate all of them.
All
That's
right.
dope. That's dope.
Well, definitely one of your flavors that you do like, you like ball, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Basketball. Big
All
ball
right.
fan.
So let's transition into some trades that have been happening with the NBA right now, because it's a wild time out there right now.
Wild Wild
Trade that
West.
wild west. We got some trades to discuss. Also, get into some drafts. Also, um,
Nice.
so in regards to trades, I just want to get into OKC real quick. OKC, they've been stacking up like first round picks at a level, like if this was a game of, like, if this was cards, they're hold if this was like poker, they're holding all the chips, like for the next 15 years, you got to go to OKC to get what's on the table. So what do you guys think of OKC's move right now in regards to just obtaining all these picks and just playing it cool?
So, I mean, I'm calling, Vin Sanity, the term
Mhm.
Vin Sanity.
Right.
It's now Sam Sanity. Okay. This guy
Sam
has
Presti.
Sam Presti. It's Sam Sanity. This guy literally has geared up OKC for anything. If
Right.
they want any player, they can I'll give you 2 first rounds for that one superstar. They
Right.
can do whatever they want. It's like they have the Infinity Stones, them and Pelicans. Both of those GMs have set up their teams for success. Like
Mhm.
literally it's insane to me. So yeah, like I just understand. I think they have 17 first round picks for the next, like, what, 6 years, 7 years. Like, it's madness,
Mhm.
madness, like madness, right? It's like that. Like, it's insane.
So just to kind of add to that, what I would say is, if you, from a business perspective, let's say you look at it as how the league is now,
Mhm.
meaning, with the way the pandemic is going, there's really no certainty. It's really sort of up in arms. You kind of want to be able to sort of plan for the future. So I would say that, you know, giving or getting trades for the future now might mean that in 2 years, in 3 years, it means that at that point you can have more access to money, because
Mhm.
everything is at a standstill right now. So, for example, you know, TV revenue, they're going to have to start to be very creative in the next 2 years or so, because with generating income, everyone's going to now try to diversify their income. Versus
Mhm.
before, you might say, well, all right, the crowds and thing would be there. They have TV rights that were there as well. But now they're going to try and say, well, all right, just like after 2008, if after 2008, when the recession was there, everybody changed their format. Like,
Mhm.
sponsorship was not as it was before 2008. And I know that from a business perspective, because I couldn't get sponsorship anywhere. And that's
Mhm.
just for, an event, a concert. So basketball, like any other sport, is entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
Yeah.
So
Right.
the transition now, the thought process is going to be a lot different. So now these kinds of clubs or teams might have a better plan for the future. So I really think that, OKC might have something that we didn't necessarily know about since they're
Mhm.
planning so far in the future.
Yeah, they're smart, man. Literally, think Sam Presti, ingenious. What he did from last year to this year, and before that, he's been stacking up these picks and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see what happens. About 2-3 years, I think. Well, they should win a ring. Like literally, like I mean,
Mhm.
if you have all these picks and don't win a one ring within the decade, bro,
Mhm.
#fail.
So keep in mind, do you remember Boston Celtics? Before they had the big three of Garnett, Pierce, and Ray Allen, they were in a position where they had a ton of, and the whole league had to literally go to Boston in order to like three-way deals. Like there's a lot of trades that were happening because Boston held the picks. Picks are like currency. If you don't have the asset now, that's something that you can leverage for later. The only thing is with OKC, I kind of wonder is, so you have all these picks now, right? And salaries are getting higher and higher. So when you're making trades, if you can't match the salary, then that's when the picks are a throw-in. If they can't be getting any better and actually having players that other teams want, then you're really mainly just relying on the draft. And a lot of the picks that they have, they're not like guaranteed top 5 or top 10 picks. A lot of these picks might be in the first round, late in the first round, So that's when you're kind of doing a lot more gambling, because to have a whole bunch of picks that might be, just looking here, Houston first. So a lot of picks that might be in, like, say, the 20th or 25th or 15th, when you're getting those later picks and not those high lottery picks, it's a gamble, because it's not like you're getting a surefire top 5 pick, say, for instance, right? So, but I have to rate what they're doing, though, with OKC. They are definitely a team to watch in the future. And they have a good base happening right there.
I mean,
Yeah.
they
Go
made
ahead.
it to the playoffs this year, guys. Like, who would
Right.
have thought? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I'm like, what? Like, this team, they're young, but they have talent. And they've been drafting excellent picks. Like, they had Durant, they had Harden, they had Serge, and like their picks weren't high up. They were just making smart picks. So I think, like, with their scouting team and what they've been doing in the past, if they keep the same folks there, they'll make the right picks for the team, because they've been doing it. Like, they've been doing it. So
You did
And-
mention that they made the playoffs, right? So Chris Paul was someone that they just lost. A big reason why they made the playoffs. And in regards to what they got in return for Chris Paul, Rubio, Kelly Oubre, and they got a first round pick for 2022, along with Tyler Jerome also, who's like a throw in, right? So I don't know, like what I like is they're finding a way to stay competitive. Like, they're not tanking and they're not throwing it in,
no.
Kelly Oubre is still a good young talent. Ricky Rubio is an underrated point guard with the pick. So we got to keep an eye on OKC, though, for sure.
So can I add something? I'm just going to add something real quick. Sometimes you have to look at these teams as what their objective is, right?
Right.
When they had such a big three as Harden,
Durant,
and
Westbrook.
and what did they do, right? And at that point, you then have to say to yourself, okay, how, if they are drafting or they can sort of get such good talent, is their objective to get the talent and to move them on, so that at the end of the day, their bottom line is never going to get in the red, right? Their bottom line is going to now say, well, all right, we can continue to sort of make it to the playoffs, continue to give our fans hope, sort of the Maple Leaf kind of,
Right.
concept,
Mhm.
where they continue to give their fans hope. And watch this, I'm going to drop this dime for you. What do you think what got some of the biggest TV ratings from last season? It wasn't Lakers, it was the Pelicans.
Okay.
Really?
So now the Pelicans, why was it the Pelicans? Because everybody wanted to see Zion Williamson.
Right.
So with Zion Williamson coming into the league, he had such, prospect. Everybody wants to see him. So now TV rights bring it in a different way. So that says now, okay, if TV rights are going to now go in that direction, perhaps the money maker is not necessarily in the crowds. Perhaps the money maker is to see who's the next one. Maybe if Luka Doncic, like a good stat to kind of look at would be to see how Luka Doncic, his TV rates or stats, how they did. But at the end of the day, these are people that people want to see on TV.
Right.
Who is this new guy, right?
Right.
So that I'm saying that to say, well, okay, maybe the formula isn't necessarily to go and win a chip. Maybe their formula is to cash and deal.
Right. No, I hear that. Just with the picks that they're getting, not for instance, you mentioned Zion and you mentioned Luca. These are number one picks. These are high picks. That's the thing with OKC. I'm not seeing in these swaps where they're having guaranteed number one picks or number two picks or number five picks. There's not really high picks in there.
Right.
But I do see your point though.
But I mean, listen, I think out of the 17 that they have, one could be a high pick. That's a
Right.
good gamble. To me, if the gamble is out of 17 first round picks, I'm going to get like the 17 first round, one could be a 1, 2, or 3. That to me is a good gamble. That's a good risk to take. And I think Sam Presti's their team wasn't going to win a championship with Chris Paul, okay?
Right.
Nor even this year. So why keep Chris Paul?
Right.
Why not get 2 first rounds or get whatever picks you want for the future? Like, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And who knows, maybe the Raptors who knows what we'll do in the Raptors, but like similar. Are we going to win a ring with this current roster? If we don't prove it, we're not going to win it. So either we blow up the team or we make some smart trades and picks this year too. So Sam Presti understands that his team's not going to win this year. So I'm not going to keep everyone here because for what? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it makes sense for me.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback your point there. You're saying about not being a number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pick, like a high pick. Even if they're not a high pick, perhaps you run a chance that they might perform like a high pick.
It's true.
Because if you look at the draft, not all high picks perform like high picks, right? And a lot of the stars now that are coming out, you might be getting somebody like, for instance, Joker. He was like late in the second round, so there's those gems out there that we really can't sleep on, right? So it's a very good point that the floor made there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's all kinds of, picks that came later on, that you can go down the line and see. So
right.
Exactly. I think they have something like Bleacher Report will have like a redraft class. Like, if you can go back and redraft it, who would you still draft? And it's funny how like some of these great players today, like, wow, they're drafted so late. Like, what's happening?
Right.
So yeah, like you're right. Where's Bargnani now? Where's all these high picks that we had? Like, they weren't that good at all.
I mean, I'll give you this as well. Development also is something that's key. You wanna when you get drafted, a lot of these kids, or children, which they actually are, they're coming into the league. Even they're coming in as big men. They're not necessarily big men. They still have a lot to develop. Right. So that also has a big part to play on where they go, what it is they do when they get there. All those things, mean something. And just to kind of go back to your point on the Chris Paul and moving him on,
right.
Also, you got to look at what's his salary. Like, we're talking
he's getting paid a lot of money.
Okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
that's a lot.
That alone, when you look at his salary, you're talking about 3 people there.
Right.
It's true though. He's getting paid so much money.
Mm.
Like, it's crazy. So For me, again, that trade was a good trade for both. I think Chris Paul, like I think I saw him like training with the Suns today with Devin Booker. Like they're so happy. Like he looks so happy in the Suns uniform. I'm so happy that he didn't go to Lakers. You know, go to Lakers or Clippers. I'm like, man, don't go there. I'm happy he went somewhere else because if he went back to LA, I would have been like, man, take two steps forward, two steps forward to go to, steps back. It's like, why do that? Like, so I'm happy he did not go back to the Lakers or the Clippers, that he went to the Suns. I think that's a great fit for him. Like, we'll talk.
So since you're talking about fit, the Lakers, they made a big move in getting Dennis Schroeder. And possibly maybe Rajon Rondo might be leaving. That's what they're speculating. But we know Schroeder's there.
And they're trading him away with the Danny Green trade?
Yes.
Poor Danny Green. That man made that one.
I didn't even know Danny Green. Where did he go?
Danny Green, actually, Danny Green's been passed around the last 2 days. So it goes like this. Danny Green, he was in LA and he got traded to OKC. And then OKC traded him to the 76ers. And OKC, so OKC traded him to the Sixers, and OKC in return, obviously, as usual, got a first round pick for Danny Green.
Of course.
In addition. So as they do. But yeah, Danny Green's now in the Eastern Conference again.
First of all, Danny Green was so happy going to the. I mean, listen, he won a chip. He won. Now he has 3 chips, right? So.
Well, actually, this is scary. Actually, I don't know how I feel with Danny Green being at the Sixers now. He's a winner in San Antonio. He's a winner in Toronto. He's a winner in LA. I don't want to see him win in Philadelphia or the right now.
As a Raptor fan, we don't want that. We don't want that
at all.
Listen, honestly, I mean, if Danny Green is consistent, I'm not concerned because yes, those teams won, but he wasn't winning on those teams.
So here's I'm glad you threw that word out there, consistent, because I'm going to say the inconsistent Danny Green can go and be with the inconsistent Joel Embiid.
All right.
Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, them inconsistent people could stay over there.
No, it's so true, man. Like literally, I mean, like what's your thoughts on the Eastern Conference? Like, I see the Bucks are making different moves. Philly's making different moves. They're saying Harden might come to the East again. He's saying he wants to go to the Brooklyn. He may go to Sixers. I think Detroit. Like literally, what's your thoughts as Raptor fans? I feel like every other team is making moves, but the Raptors has been silence. I'm not hearing anything. I heard some Harden noise today, but like the Raptors have been so quiet. And I'm like, Masai, bro, what are you up to? Like, what is Masai up to?
Well, I think there's an answer there for that. Just due to the fact that Van Vliet, he's the big domino. You know what I'm saying? He's the chip that you can't make any moves until you figure out what you're doing with Fred Van Vliet. And once that domino or that chip falls there, then everything else is going to fall into place. So we just have to be patient, figure out what's going on with Freddie V. Real quick, I know, and something's probably going to happen very shortly because things are pretty fluid. But the Bandit, what do you say? You think Van Vliet stays or goes?
I think he stays.
He stays.
Yeah, I say I think he stays because if they were to do proper business, he doesn't stay.
Right.
And I'm saying that to go back to what I was talking about with the OKC part. With I feel like Fred Van Vliet, he has earned his pay, meaning he deserves to get the big money, which is kind of what Kyle Lowry has been saying. He's basically saying, okay, this guy's paid his dues, so give him the money, and he's worked hard or whatever. But now, if you're going to be a shrewd business person, right, then you don't necessarily have feelings in it. And you now got to look at, is Fred Van Vliet as powerful without Kyle Lowry, for example? Is Fred Van Vliet as powerful with Siakam still needing to learn his trade? Right? So, what are you, and now you're going to be spending basically 60 what, something million for two people?
Yeah.
Because Siakam is 30 something million. Then Fred VanVleet is going to be 30 something million.
Yeah. He'll want exactly at least the same as Siakam.
Right. And Kyle Lowry right now, 30 something million. That's three people. Like you're talking 100 million for three people. Like what?
And then Serge wants at least 23 or 24 mil.
Okay.
Or more than that.
Okay. So now you're above the salary cap.
So that, I guess, coming to this question then.
Okay.
You are Masai Ujiri.
Yep.
Are you extending that contract to Fred VanVleet?
Which one?
Nope. The max, or the what he's proposing right now, Fred VanVleet to stay.
Because
like you said, everyone's out to get paid, right? So you got to pay them. It's not really a matter of like if we think Fred wants to stay or not. It's like, is he that type of player that you're going to give him that money?
Right now,
yes.
For me, and this is going to sound really bad, even as a Raptor fan, but just know that I've been a Raptor fan for 20 something years. But for me right now, I think it's time to, if I was Masai and I'm trying to make some money and I would be blowing up the team.
I'm the Bandit.
Okay, hold on. When you say blow up, give me some details in regards to what blow up means to you.
Blow up means Siakam is traded. Blow up means...
That's harsh.
Yeah.
Whoa, so Siakam, how about OG? Keep OG or no?
I'm keeping OG.
Keeping OG.
I'm actually keeping Powell.
Okay.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
I'm trading Siakam, and I guess Fred is a free agent, no?
Yes.
Yes.
So what will happen is, just as Gasol is gone. I'm kind of happy with that.
Me
right?
too. Okay. He did nothing for us this year.
Fred would be great to keep, and maybe if I think Kyle Lowry's at the end of his contract.
Yes.
I might even trade Kyle.
Okay.
Right.
So you've just got rid of Siakam. You got rid of Lowry. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot.
And maybe let Fred go.
Wow.
So
okay.
Or
like
keep
actual
Fred.
blow up, like let's blow
Like
up
a
an
blow up.
entire
Like
a
blow up.
explosion. Yeah.
Right. Or I keep Fred. Right. Keep Siakam. Trade Kyle.
That's of the options. I think
I'm
that
on
seems
that option.
Yeah, that one seemed more. Now, yeah, in regards to Lowry being traded, even that I don't think. I think we're dealing with the legacy here. He's a Raptor, what he's done for the Raptors, but in that scenario, I mean, we'll see over the next few days. I think we're going to see, like I said, once we decide what's going on with Fred, then this team could look very much the same, or it could look very different. So we'll have to see.
Well, I mean, I think the Harden trade, the Harden prospect, I have a few sources that are with the Raptors, and they said essentially the option that they're mulling over in their head is Harden. Rockets want OG. They want OG. So it'll be an OG trade with a few picks and some bench. But they want, if Harden goes, they will want OG and someone else with that.
Right.
And
that's
so, and I love OG. Like, that's my boy. So I'm like, but Harden obviously will
Harden
play
to come
very
to
well.
us?
Yeah, come to us. And then, yeah. So that's, I mean, it's an option that they're mulling over, but nothing has come to, again, this is just a rumor, an option.
I refrain from having any Harden Raptor talks until
further
notice.
It's been happening though. Like my source says, it's been happening. They are actually considering it. Nothing has been stated or is being done. I'm just saying that it's an option. The Rockets have pitched this to the Raptors.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
it's an option of this. So
I'm waiting for Woj.
Even today, a couple of analysts today came out and they said they feel that Harden's best fit would actually be the Raptors and not not Brooklyn. So this is not just like me saying this. I'm saying like
This is not
in the NBA world, and analysts are saying this, and it's something that the Raptors are mulling over. But again, if Harden wants to leave the Rockets that badly, I mean, hey, if we went with Kawhi, can we win with Harden? I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. In regards to the draft just happened fresh.
Right now, tonight, guys, we're recording on draft night.
All right. So one thing we have to know about the draft. This is the first draft I can honestly say I've been following ball for 25 years, easy. This is the first time I'm approaching a draft and really not knowing much about the players that are coming out for a few reasons. One, college ball. With college ball, I didn't get a chance to scout or do anything to see who's coming out. Two, COVID. There's just COVID. There's just so many factors that come in that a lot of these players are just nothing more than just names and just what people are saying. So what I want to do is just tonight, go through real quick the key players. Let's say we could go top 10, but I just want to mention the top 5 real quick. Okay. First one, we have Anthony Edwards by Minnesota. 2, we have James Wiseman for Golden State. 3, we have LaMelo Ball for Charlotte Hornets. 4, we have Patrick Williams for the Bulls. 5, we have Isaac Okoro for Cavs. 6, we have Onyeka Okongwu for the Hawks. 7, we have Killian Hayes for the Pistons. 8, we have Obi Toppin for the Knicks. And 9, we have Denny Advigia for the Wizards. And in 10 has Jalen Smith for the Suns.
And to add, guys, on deck, the Raptors drafted Malachi Flynn, who is he's a guard.
From?
Sorry, I'm looking at it right now on my Twitter feed.
So what I can say is the Bandit. Are you familiar with any of these names, first of all?
The first 3.
Very good. Me too. And I go about 3 deep also. So we're pretty much talking about Edwards, Wiseman, and LaMelo Ball. So coming into the draft, those are the 3 that I was really, and actually I was surprised of the 3, and I know they're all 3 good talents. I was thinking that LaMelo Ball, because I've been following him the most since his early high school days. So I'm a big LaMelo Ball fan. I like Malonzo also. I'm a Ball fan, period. I thought he went number 1. I'm surprised he slipped to number 3. I just want to say this about LaMelo Ball real quick. Good point. I mean, good choice of him being in Charlotte, being under Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan having, he's a Michael Jordan product right now. Like Michael Jordan for the next 3-4 years is going to be in his ear, all over LaMelo Ball, and to make sure that
he's a new Kemba, hopefully. Kemba prospect. He's a new Kemba.
Right. Michael Jordan. So just having that influence and that structure of being around Jordan, it can only help him as a player. So I think, keep an eye out for him. The Bandit, any of them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was going to say pretty much what you're saying. I think they all, okay, just to give a quick rundown. I think Jordan picked himself with Ball, because his size, if he's 6'6", just like what Jordan was.
Same size, man. Similar build.
Right. Similar build, similar style of play when Jordan kind of came in. The build is also similar. He's more of a number 2-3 versus where Jordan was more of a 3 than a 2 when he first came in. But yeah, I mean, for me, as I say, Jordan picked himself as far as I see it. I think the Wiseman pick is probably going to be, in my opinion, the most impact immediately.
Yes.
Right. And I heard you saying that Klay Thompson got injured. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah, he got injured. He injured. Klay Thompson today, he got I guess an MRI, but last year, as everyone know, he injured his left
ACL,
leg,
right?
ACL on his left leg, and then he injured recently his Achilles on his right leg, Achilles rupture. Um,
On his
yeah,
right.
so he's
That's a
looking
big
at
deal.
probably
Just
more
just so you know,
rehab.
that's
Right.
that's a big deal. Like
Right.
It's a big
Achilles,
deal.
Achilles is no joke. So
Right.
I mean, but they still have Wiggins, and they still have is Russell still there?
No,
No.
Russell, no, DeAndre Russell's in Minnesota.
yeah,
Oh,
he got
Minnesota. That's
traded.
right.
He
Yeah,
got traded
that's right.
for
That's right.
Wiggins.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So
yes,
anyway,
you're right. They still have guards there.
They have guards
to compensate
there.
for it.
He's lucky that his team has folks, and of course, Steph will be back.
Yeah.
Like, but I just think that so we did an episode with the doctors previously about the medical team at Golden State Warriors and how their players keep getting injured, and these injuries could be avoided with proper rehabilitation. Now, I'm not blaming them for this injury. I'm just saying that there's a trend where there'll be one little minor injury and then something else happens. So Achilles tendon, from what they said, is that something that typically is the injury happens before that happens. That wasn't like nurtured properly as per the doctor. So I'm just curious, like, how do you injure one ACL on one leg, Achilles rupture on another leg? Like, and I get it. He's probably pushing himself too much because he wants to play. I get it. Like he wants to play in NBA so badly, so he might be pushing himself too much. But it's just really sad to see someone like Clay, who's a pinnacle part of the NBA, and next season to have this injury on his right leg. Like, prayers up to Clay Thompson, man. Hopefully he gets well soon.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
right. That's right.
So yeah, so going back to I feel like again he would be the biggest impact in terms of Wiseman. I think LaMelo Ball was Jordan picking himself, but I don't think he's going to have as much of an impact until at least about 5 or 6 years, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I just don't have the faith in Edwards, to be honest.
So the number one pick.
Really, you think Edwards is all flash?
I like when I look at, like, I see the comparisons, but I feel like the comparisons between Dwayne Wade and him are comparisons that are just thrown out there. And this is because I'm also one that looks at technique. I look at, when you look at Dwayne Wade's technique, his technique was raw, but it was very finished. Like, you can see that his technique was finished. Versus with Edwards, you could see that his technique is still a little bit like rough around the edges. When I say technique, I mean, I'm hoping you guys know what I mean by technique in terms of your act, not necessarily your skill, but just how you're doing your skill. Whether
it's like his mechanics
right,
of how
his
he's playing
mechanics.
basketball.
Exactly.
It's more seasoned and more like versus
almost like, and this is myself and Justin, we had a talk the other day, and I was explaining to him the technique. You look at what's his name from the Celtics, Tatum, right?
Yes. Polished. He's polished.
Right. And you look at Siakam. Siakam doesn't have
unpolished.
Right. Very unpolished.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you can tell somebody who's been playing ball from since they was 8, 9.
Right.
Kind of
versus 16, like Siakam.
Right.
You understand? So I'm saying that about Edwards to say that, I'm not a believer just yet.
Okay, so that's a very fair assessment. I just want to, so in regards to what you're saying about Wade, keep in mind, Wade, he's a 2-year college player, right, at Marquette. So he had that extra time. In regards to Anthony Edwards, how many years has he been playing college ball?
I'm not even sure how many years actually.
But here's what I will trump your argument with.
Okay.
Wiggins was there. So it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with, it depends on where you go for development. Now, if, for example, Edwards was going to Miami, I believe Miami is very good on developing players. You understand? In the sense that in football or soccer, right? It's very similar, where I can say, I know Ajax, for example, is a place where a lot of upcoming players would go to get developed, right? is not. I don't see that in Minnesota.
Mhm.
You understand? In the
Right.
sense that he's going to probably go there, and in my opinion, they drafted Wiggins again.
Facts. It's
Mhm.
funny because so Anthony only played so he went to the college last year,
Yeah, 1 year.
2019.
He's 1 year, right?
He's 1 year. I mean,
So
most players nowadays are 1 year
just
draft
one and
picks.
done, right? So that's
Yeah,
what I'm
the
saying.
one and
So
done.
a lot of these players, if we
Mhm.
give them a little bit more time, like say, see what you're saying, him Edwards being raw, give him say 2-3 years, and then he would probably be where we'd have like Wade being in regards to. And I understand what you're saying about he seems raw and unpolished, but he's pretty much fresh out of high school, right? So
Literally, and COVID kind of mash up. To me, my issue is this with all these players. Like, there's a gamble with all the draft picks, all of them, because
Right.
COVID literally. I feel like these guys, they scouts. Yes, they have scout, I guess, cards. I'm seeing all the. I get it, but the scout cards are from high school games and maybe from college, from last year, last fall up
Right.
until February. You know what I'm saying? And yes, I think it's a couple games. They've been playing some couple games here and there, like scrimmages, but playing in a tournament, playing in a professional setting is not the same as a scrimmage game for a scout. You know what I'm saying? And pressure, under stress. Like, these players, I have no idea how they deal with stress. How? We don't know. Are they Siakam? Or are they, who knows? So I
Right.
just feel like there's a lot of things, variables that are not being measured, that you cannot see from just skill set and videos. And that's why I think this entire draft, I mean, congrats to all the draft players, like congrats to y'all. But as a team, I'm scared. I'm actually scared because I'm not sure who I'm drafting. The
Right.
tapes look fantastic. All their tapes look great. But what happens when they're playing grown ass men on the court in the NBA?
Right.
So to add to that, a lot of the time, any athlete, what you need is game time, right? And getting game time is kind of where you start to also get developed. That's where you're under pressure to sort of make the decisions, right?
Yeah.
In any sport, it's almost like even as a DJ, you can be a DJ in your basement as much as you want, but if you're not DJing in front of a crowd, that ain't saying nothing, right? So you actually need game time. You need time to be under pressure to make actual decisions. And that's why I made mention of the Wiggins thing, because again, there are some teams that I believe that they want what we call already shell nuts, right? So that when the nuts already done shell, you don't have to shell the nuts to kind of figure out what it is that you're getting, right? You have something that you're going to just take and eat, right? That's what Minnesota, I believe, is looking for.
Yeah.
I don't believe a team like Miami is looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe a team like Toronto is looking for that. I believe these teams are the teams that are looking for players to develop, some kind of
agreed
diamond in the rough that they can now make a very valuable player, right? So again, coming back to the raw and the technique and whether or not him going to Minnesota is going to be the right choice for him, I don't necessarily know, in my opinion.
True. Good point. So let's go to we have a segment for the culture. Nelly J, why don't you take us into for the culture?
Yes, my dear. So for the culture, y'all, so what to highlight any type of event or person that is for the culture. And this week we want to highlight number one is The Weeknd, a Scarborough native.
That's right.
He is now going to be performing for the Super Bowl halftime show. Insane. That's so great. Now, as you guys know, Rock Nation, they're the ones who are now partnered with the NFL, and now they're the company that actually manages the halftime show. Last year, Faheem, you weren't happy with who they picked, which was Shakira and J-Lo.
Yeah, I did. They didn't.
Hey, they were fantastic. Remember, the Hustlers movie came out, and J-Lo was on that pole doing her thing. Okay, so she killed it. But with The Weeknd, I mean, what's your thoughts on that, Bandit? Knowing that a guy from Scarborough, like who grew up in our areas, now is going to be on the biggest stage in sports performance ever.
I mean, I think congratulations to him. I think it's a big deal. I'm hoping that he's getting his worth, meaning I'm hoping he's getting paid to do this. And I wouldn't say that too much congratulations to him. I would more say congratulations to the NFL. And I say that to say that I feel the NFL is hurting right now. And they need to get their audience. They need to sort of get new audience. One of the things, as I said, a lot of sports is all about entertainment. And if you don't, replenish your old audience with new audience, then you're not going anywhere. You're just going to eventually start to lose your audience. And with this whole Black Lives Matter thing that's been happening over the last 4 years, I know I don't watch football anymore. I stopped watching in 2016, right? And I was a big football fan.
Yeah, Faheem as well. He stopped watching too.
Right. So I'm saying, and I replaced football with football, with
right?
Soccer, right?
What league? What league? Real quick, what league?
Sorry.
What league?
What league? I watch everything.
Oh, all of them.
All of them, yeah. I watch Bundesliga. I watch EPL. I watch Liga.
The Liga,
Syria. Yep. I watch all of them.
Dope.
Good man.
Dope.
Anyways, to go back to the weekend. So yeah, I think it's more a play for the NFL. I think congratulations to the NFL to convince the weekend that to do their halftime show.
Yeah.
So congratulations to them, and hopefully, I hope the weekend's getting paid as much as he could.
Yeah. And keep in mind, the NFL, this offseason, the commissioner admitted to being wrong with how he dealt with Kaepernick. Kaepernick got settled. He got paid. He got in a settlement as well, and he got a tryout. And the NFL, I think the NFL, at the end of the day, this is my thing, right? We can try to, and I get it, I have a lot of friends who stopped watching the NFL when this happened, and it will turn you off, exactly because Kaepernick, right? He was an impactful player, and he was protecting something that was important. But the fact that the NFL can admit it and at least try to, they added a diversity group, inclusion group. They're trying to relearn. The team for the Washington, that team change is now changed. They're making progress. And I feel like it won't happen this year, but I feel like in 2-3 years, we're going to see a different NFL, and they have to, like you said, because they will suffer financially if they do not make these adjustments. And I think they understand the power of Black people spending power. It's huge. Okay. Our community spends money. So if you want to keep your fan base, you have to do things for us. And I think this year, and during COVID, they got reality check. I think everyone did. You know what I'm saying? The world stopped, and you had to look at what was happening when it comes to George Floyd and Jacob Blake. This is real. This is real life. So I'm just happy that the light bulb went off, and now they're making a positive change. So let's see NFL. Hopefully they keep moving in that direction in terms of trying to be more uplifting and supporting the culture.
That's right.
They need us. They need us.
So the Bandit.
Yes.
I'm throwing something your way.
Okay.
You got to catch this. You ready?
Yep.
Hypothetically, you get a call from The Weeknd. He calls you and says, you know what? I need you to warm up the crowd for me for 3 minutes at the Super Bowl. I need you to choose. I'll give you 3 minutes, and you have 3 songs to choose to warm me up before I come out. Give me 3 songs you choose. And something creative you do for the transition for those 3 songs.
Wow.
Jeopardy here, bro. Jeopardy. Good
Yo.
/ Jeopardy.
Keep in mind, the world is watching.
The world is watching. The Bandit.
That's a heavy one. Man.
Fine. 4
Okay.
songs, Bandit. 4 songs.
I'm gonna give.
You can't pick 3.
I'm gonna give you the 3.
Okay.
Pop star Drake.
That's a big song.
Toast. Coffee.
Toast coffee.
And Jump. Rupee.
Ooh. Okay. I like that. You picked all Canadian / Carib people.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Uh-huh.
it.
I mean, the reason why I did the Drake Pop Star is because right now that's one of the biggest songs there is.
Yes.
Right.
Right, so that's gonna get everybody going. The Toast is there because it's a crossover sort of reggae, kind of, people know it. Hell, Obama knew it. He played it.
Yes, Obama's top list. Yeah.
Right? And Jump for the energy of soca to
Yes.
kind of get
Right.
the crowd going.
Right.
Yes.
Nice.
No, that's awesome. Bandit, honestly, I was like, that's a tough question to answer, but you did it, of course, in class. And, Bandit, for the culture, we also want to highlight you because I think that you're someone for our culture. Like,
Mhm.
I always tell you, I'm like, yo, Bandit, without your events, like literally every summer, I'm stalking the Bandit. I'm okay. It's like, okay, tickets sell when? Like, Halloween. Like, literally, I have a group chat around buying tickets for Bandit parties. Like, we are so because remember, like your events is not just an event; it's an experience. There's parties everywhere in Toronto, but your parties and your events, when you walk in, is like you're entering an entire new world. It's like all your stress has been shedded from your body, and it's all about that experience. So I'm just curious to know, like, how did you become? I guess, like, becoming a DJ to becoming an event producer, like, how did you kind of add that element and why did you add it? And for Toronto, like in Trinidad, that's been a thing for years, but like in Toronto, rarely DJs have that kind of classy, elegant, but amazing event experience. But you hit it every time. So how do you do it, number one? And why do you do it for the culture?
Well, I value people's money. That's one thing. And essentially, I kind of produce an event that I know I would want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it comes down to, a combination of the both of them where, I know how I want to feel if I was to come to an event. A lot of the time I feel disappointed with the presentation, with where it's at, because I wish I could do more. But obviously sometimes you're limited by, the cost of things. Right. There's so much that I wish I can actually do. And a lot of the time I end up in the red because I'm trying to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, with Sunset, like when I do Sunset, it's like, for sure, I'm in the red, but it's my birthday party as well. So
yeah, it's for the
I
culture.
don't mind
like
being
you
in
do
the
for
red.
us. Yeah.
Right. But again, so to summarize, it's, I kind of know how I would like to feel if I'm going to an event, and I value what people pay for, what they, how they earn their money, what it is that they're doing. So I kind of think that kind of summarizes the reason.
Honestly, we appreciate that because literally there's rarely anyone like you in the city. A few people I can name, but y'all know who you are. But the Bandit's really someone, like, if you see at the Bandit party, everyone's trying to get into that party, like everyone. So we appreciate what you're doing for the culture, for the Caribbean culture, and what you're doing for the city of Toronto, right? Because literally there's rarely any Black event planners or producers in our city, and each year it becomes less and less and less. So we appreciate you for being on here, but of course, thank you for always being for the culture, bro. Always.
Thank you
Nice.
very much for
Nice.
saying that. I mean, I appreciate that very much. Trust me.
All right. So we'll go to our closeout with this last segment we like to call That's Absurd.
That's absurd, bro. Faheem, what was absurd this week, bro? What was absurd?
This is so we've done a lot of That's Absurd topics. For me, I have to say this has to be, I think, this has to be a Hall of Fame That's Absurd moment right now. So it comes from DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan, he has a reputation of not being a 3-point shooting two guard.
Or being
well
clutch.
documented.
Or being clutch.
Okay. He was on JJ Redick's podcast, and this is a quote from DeMar DeRozan. Quote, "I can shoot threes. Stop saying I can't shoot them because I don't shoot them." Unquote. And then he went on to just speak about he doesn't shoot threes. He can shoot threes, but he chooses not to shoot threes.
Absurd.
Absurdity.
First of all, as Raptors, okay, we're all Raptors fans here, folks. Like, okay, do what the Bandit, bro, you go first because I'm just like in shock.
So here's the thing. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't actually believe DeMar DeRozan is a 2-3. I more consider DeMar DeRozan as a real 3. And I feel the problem that DeMar DeRozan has is that he needs to lean towards a 4 and to be a true 3. In other words, he needs to get more rebounds versus trying to be, he has that element of a shooting guard, but he's not necessarily a shooting guard. So to be able to say that, oh yeah, I can shoot threes. I've seen him shoot a 3, but it's the same thing like me. You're really straining to shoot a 3. He's pelting it. He's pelting the ball.
Pelt.
It's a pelt. So when you're pelting the ball, you're not really shooting a 3.
Yo, I'm just absurd. I'm absurd because DeMar, okay, like was he like? I don't want to be rude, but DeMar, are you okay, bro? I know it's COVID. Are you like? Is everything all right? Because I've never seen you become a 3-point shooter. Like I've never even thought of you as a 3-point shooter, and it's okay. You not everyone can be everything, and maybe he wants to boost himself. You know, maybe he felt that day like but DeMar, you're not a 3-point shooter, bro. Just stay in your lane and improve on other aspects, like rebounding, you know. But bro, do not start pelting threes this season. Don't do it to prove us wrong. We know you're wrong. Don't do it, please.
So I'm going to bring some facts in here right now. So DeMar DeRozan on his career is, let me say this. The NBA average from 3-point is 35%. It's the average. Shoot around 33, 34%. We'll bump you up to say your average. You can't shoot 28% on your career and say you're anywhere close to being average. That's one. In his best season, he shot 34% once. And actually, I just want to do this real quick, just so we put some context to DeMar. His 3-point shooting average through his career goes 25%. Let's see, 26%, 28%, 30%, 28%, 34%, 26%, 31%, 15%.
He's well below
25%. So if DeMar's case is, you know what, I can shoot threes, I just don't want to shoot them.
You can't. You can't.
It reminds me of Vince Carter. Remember when Vince Carter was here and he was on his way out of Toronto? And remember what Vince said? He was like, I can dunk. I just, I just choose not to dunk anymore. You know, like I can dunk, but I'm just not going to dunk, just to prove people that he's more than just a dunker. DeMar by
Vince. Can we not?
Sorry, Vince. Yes, we're talking about Vince. Sorry, my bad.
Can we not? Can we not?
No,
can we not?
Just stating the fact that, you know, there's people who want to, you know, play to the media like they are something who they're not. DeMar and 3-point shooting, they should not be said in the same breath. You have to say like DeMar and then take a few pauses and then say, you can't even say 3-point shooting. Say free throws, you know. And we'll leave it at that.
Like, I can't believe, like, literally, especially like the stats now, like we all knew based on just our observation that he can't shoot threes as much as everyone else. But the fact that the stats is he's below the average of the NBA, like well below. That's just absurd, bro.
Completely absurd. And then one last thing I want to say with this, with DeMar, there's probably a lot of pressure for him. Think about this. In the NBA right now, you have big men. Like, okay, the NBA 20 years ago, big men were not shooting threes. Big men didn't start shooting threes maybe about 15 years ago, and now 10 years ago. And nowadays, if you're a big man, you can't shoot a 3. People kind of look down at you. If you're not a stretch 4, you know, people look down upon you.
Facts.
DeMar, unfortunately, is probably seeing other people, bigger men with less skill at that skill set, doing something. So DeMar's that's probably where it's rooting from. The fact that he's seeing Nikola Jokic and all these big men shooting threes, and DeMar's still left in the Stone Age.
And he's like,
I'll do you one better. How about this? Maybe the reason why he's trying to put it out there in the universe is that he's trying to sort of extend his career, because in order for him to extend his career, he can't continue to be a 3. He has to be able to find that 3-point shooting. If you want to be a Vince Carter, we'll bring back Vince into the mix, right? Vince only extended his career because he got his 3-point shooting, right?
Right.
So,
So
at the end of the
true.
day, I could understand the method to the madness, but that mean he had to be in the gym like a gym rat.
Mhm. And to add to what you're saying about Vince, the only thing is Vince could actually shoot a 3-point shot to begin with. DeMar, you can't just start after what your 10th season and say, you know what, I want to start shooting threes.
Absurd, DeMar
Absurd, my
DeRozan.
friend, absurd.
DeMar DeRozan, absurd. Period. Absurd.
All right, so let's throw this episode in the books.
Episode 14.
Episode 14 in the books.
Y'all.
The Bandit.
The Bandit. But I can't.
Whoa.
I love saying that. I'm a problem, guys.
All
That
right.
means
The
I've done my
wickedest
job.
DJ in Toronto. Big up the Bandit. So the Bandit, before you go, please give us a shout out to anybody, family, friend, loved ones.
Well, I mean, shout out to you guys, first of all, for at least extending the invitation to me to have me on. I really appreciate it. As I said before, sometimes I get inspired by others to want to do things, and the fact that people are pulling me out of my shell to actually do certain things, it's keeping my blood flowing. So again, a really big thanks for that. And if you want to find me, thebandit.com, or on all social media, look The Bandit. Very simple.
Yeah.
Or look for him at the Super Bowl.
Also, his podcast. Also, guys, his podcast, he has wicked mixes. So for y'all who want to work out, listen, your mixes and just your mixes get me to work out. You know what I'm saying? Because music gets me pumping. So especially now when it gets colder, like now, like your mixes are vital for a lot of us to still have that carnival type energy in Toronto. So gotta check out his podcast. He has awesome mixes, reggae, soca, hip hop, everything. So big up.
Man.
Yeah.
Thank you
Respect.
again.
All right, that's episode 14.
Episode 14, y'all. So good Tuesday, number one. Number two, shout out to the Bandit. Shout out to Faheem. Shout out to our brother Jomo in the background here. Guys, we're supportive, guys. Keep in mind, we have our holiday gift drive. Our goal is to hand out 300 gift bags to children, mothers, fathers, and of course, homeless people in the shelters downtown Toronto. So please support. DM us for any details on our Amazon gift list, but let's try to give back if you're able. Of course, if you're able.
Nice.
So yes.
Shout out to the Bandit, Jomo in the back, Nelly J, great app. Episode 14, throw it in the books. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast app,
YouTube, we everywhere.
Instagram, Twitter. We everywhere. Wherever you want us, we're there. Plug.
Nelly J, you ready? I'm gonna do this one just for you. Ready?
Yes.
The bandit. The bandit.
Yes. Woo! Thank you. Episode 14, and we out.
Oh.
We out. Peace.